I received a phone call from Mike Elston, who I believe is the Chief of Staff to the Deputy Attorney General. I had some previous conversations with Mr. Elston. In fact, it was Mr. Elston that I contacted after the Attorney General testified in this committee to express to him some concerns I had about the way I was being treated in light of the Attorney General's comments. And so I'd have to think, over the course of this, Mike Elston and I have talked 3 or 4 times. That day was a Tuesday, as I recall, and there had been a Sunday Washington Post article in which I was quoted as saying something to the effect that the department can replace us for any reason or no reason, and also saying that if they were somehow being deceptive or about the reasons about my colleagues because they didn't want to talk about the true agenda behind these other dismissals, that I thought that was unfair and that should be corrected. And I'm paraphrasing. I don't have my exact quote. That was in a Dan Egan story in the Washington Post, I believe, on February 18th. Apparently, that struck a nerve that I had given that quote, and partly probably because they felt like they had done me right when the Deputy Attorney General had testified, and to that extent they certainly had, and he honestly said what my situation was and cut me out of this other category. And so maybe they felt like they'd been somehow betrayed by me because I should still be in the fold. And so I discussed that with Mike and told him that number one, the paragraph right before my quote said that many prosecutors were enraged, and I said that's not I didn't use the words enraged. That's the writer's words. Maybe some of the other colleagues are enraged, but that wasn't the context that I made that statement. I told him additionally that I pointed out to him that none of the U.S. attorneys had taken any action to stir up any controversy after we'd been dismissed, and it was only once Congress started calling the Department of Justice to task and they endeavored to defend their actions that any of us said anything because we weren't comfortable with what was being said. And then finally I pointed out to him that all of us at that point had already received a number of phone calls from your staff, and I'm not sure about the House at that point, but we had had many invitations already to come here and do this and testify, which we had all declined. So I was trying to remind him that we weren't driving this train, that it was really an issue between the administration and Congress, and we were just witnesses. And this was all very congenial. This was not a tense phone call. But then at one point he did say that there was a feeling in the department that they had been too restrained in their defense of their actions, mainly concerning my colleagues. And this was after they had had the behind-door session with the Senate to show whatever materials they showed. And he indicated that there was a viewpoint held among people and some people in management of the department that if the controversy would continue to be stirred up, that more information, more damaging information might be brought out. I'm not attempting to quote him here, but the inference was clear and again, I think it mainly applied to my colleagues, not to me, because I had been separated. And so, and I'm not trying to characterize that as a threat. It was a very congenial phone call. It might have been a threat, might have been a warning, might have been an observation, a prediction. You can characterize it. I'm going to leave it to you. But I thought about it for a while, and I felt like it had been a confidential conversation. I didn't feel completely comfortable sharing it with anybody. But on the other hand, I was very concerned about my colleagues, the people that are sitting here, and others that I didn't feel like were being treated fairly. And of course I'd been in their shoes just a few weeks before. And so I felt like I would not be comfortable having one of them give an interview the next day and then have the world fall on top of them without knowing that message had been delivered. And I almost felt like it had been delivered for a purpose for me to share it. Right. So I did, in fact, try to convey that to Ms. Lamb, Mr. Iglesias, Mr. McKay, Mr. Bogdan, and Mr. Charlton.
How did you convey that to them?
I actually sent them an email.
Right. And is that email available for the record, should we need it?
Yes, sir.